On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, we talk with Brandon Pecharich about what it's like to do promo every day. Hey there, and welcome to another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I'm your host, Kirby Hassman, and joining me today is a rock star, Brandon Pecharich. He's the Senior Sales Director from Promo Corner. Brandon, he's a repeat guest as well. Thanks so much for joining me, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much, Kirby. And actually, we were talking about it a little bit before, but we're almost a year out. This is like an anniversary thing. Maybe we just need to put it in the calendar and keep doing it every year.
I love that idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, it was funny.
DMJ year? Okay. All right.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So speaking of that, right, one of the things I wanted to jump in and ask you about is you've been doing a piece of content called Promo Every Day. I'm sure I won't pronounce that right. Promo Every Day for a while now. Must be a lot of work. That's what I always think of. And why did you decide to do it, and how has the response been?
So why did I start to do it? So actually, I just crossed over 100 episodes, and I did a whole week where I kind of explained. I had some blooper reels. Thank you very much for that suggestion. And then I kind of explained like how it kind of came about, and it did come about from a phone call when I was a distributor, where an end user basically told me nobody uses promotional products anymore, and I was like, dude, we use them every day.
Yeah.
And so it kind of just started from that meeting, and then what ended up happening is I just, with my supplier side background and all that stuff, I kind of want to help out the distributor, right? So that was the number one thing. I wanted a piece of content as a distributor that I could send out to any end user, and it would show them their product or the product that they should be buying used in real life, used every day. Right. And so that's where that's why I did it. It is a lot of work. So like from filming or recording, I guess we don't film things anymore, from recording to editing and then posting and then finding content, planning it all out. Like I'm preaching to the choir here with you, but for everybody watching, what this man does and what I'm attempting to do is like how we get anything else done throughout the day. It still blows my mind. But, you know, for us, I'm speaking for you, but I'm going to speak for myself as well. But I think we do it because we love it, right? It goes back to that why. Why are we doing it? I want to help distributors, and I want to give suppliers a place that they can not sell their product, right? Because nobody wants to sit around a boardroom table anymore and just have a bunch of products pulled out of a suitcase, and this is what it does, and here's the price point, and we have 10,000 of them. Now go sell them. Yeah, I want to get hyped about that product. I want to go out and want to see it. I want to see it used in real life a day. So, and then you asked about the response. The response is growing. Yeah. So it's been going on, like I said, for just over 100 episodes now. I think we're actually at like, I don't know, by the time this airs, we'll be somewhere in the 130, 140 range. So, I mean, we're getting up there in episodes, right? So I think it's starting to get out there. Right. We're noticing it on social. It's bigger on social than it is on any other platform. I'm really starting to see smart distributors sending it out to their end users. That's what I'm getting excited about. Right. Not only is the supplier who is sponsoring that week or having a product that week sending it out to their list on social and sending out to their lists and their customers, but now I'm starting to see distributors send it out too. That's the thing that, in terms of response, that's the good response. The bad response is I'm getting a lot of distributors that are telling me they don't want to send it to their customer because they don't think it's end user friendly. So the hardest part for me is I don't talk about price. I don't talk about anything. All I mention is the supplier's name. Like, it's no different than mentioning a Kleenex box. Okay. It's no different than mentioning a Nike shoe. Well, where did you buy your Nike shoe, right? Nike is the manufacturer. Hit, Prime, S&S, those are manufacturers. So it's end user friendly. And I hope any end users any distributors that are watching this, please feel free to leave comments in this. And if you need me to help you send this out, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think one of the things I would say about it, Brandon, is number one, I really admire the consistency, because that's the hard part. There are going to be times that you're going to send it out and there are going to be crickets. But the other thing I would say to you is you don't need everyone to buy in. You just
True.
need a percentage, right? And you need a percentage that consistently does it. And so I appreciate what you're doing, and I'd say keep it up. So that's great. So it leads me into my next question, which is, what are some, 100 episodes, 130 episodes, you've mentioned some big numbers. What are some things you've learned while doing this piece of content?
Uh, so people in general are afraid of a man with a camera.
Yes,
Uh,
I do know that. Yes.
so, I don't know if it's in the shot or not, but I've got my camera equipment hanging up behind me, and the vlogging style camera that I use, if you watch YouTube at all, it's very similar to what most YouTubers use. It's a big DSLR with a light up on top, a microphone jetting out from the top, and then this massive curved piece that comes back that I can hang onto the camera.
Right.
When you're walking around with that contraption in front of your face, people freak out because they actually think you're filming forward.
Right.
So they don't realize that I'm actually recording myself. Even though I've got the screen out and everything, you should see people duck when I'm walking down the street, like, because they don't want to be in the shot. They don't want to be in the video or in the vlog or whatever. So that I've learned is kind of a funny thing. And then I've always kind of lived my life by ask for forgiveness instead of permission.
Right.
Well, when you look professional, professionals need to ask for permission first. Kind of a funny little piece of something that happened to me at the library here in Austin. I was recording myself walking around the library. That's a no-no. I didn't know you could get kicked out of a public library. So I chalked that one up to... I sent a text out to all my buddies and everybody that I knew. I was like, so this happened. I got kicked out of a public library. One of my friends writes back, why were you in a public library? The other one was like, what did you do in a public library to get kicked out? So, I've also learned that now that I do look professional, I've got to start, finding out what the laws are like when you record around a town. And especially since this is getting posted and viewed and shared, you do kind of got to be careful. So I'm learning all of that too, all of the laws behind filming.
Yeah. Well, and the other piece is just like what kind of music you can use, because you are selling a product, so you want to be careful about not using copyrighted music, stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah, man. And when you post on YouTube and you have a song that it lets you know as soon as you post it, if it recognizes that song, it's like, we are requesting you. I was like, oh man, all right, I'll change the song. Change the song.
Yep, totally get it. And that's good. That's good stuff, but it's great lessons too. So good for those people who are thinking about doing content. It's great. If you want to be treated like a professional, you have to act like that. And that's great advice.
Absolutely.
So final question for you, buddy. You've been on the supplier side. You've been on the distributor side, and I think most people kind of think those are the two sides of the industry, but now you're on sort of the third side, which is sort of the service provider side. How do you think that helps you to see the industry from all of those perspectives?
Well, because I've seen all of the industry, right? So I've been on both sides. And I think we kind of talked about this a little bit a year ago too. How, and I think the question was more, how is being a supplier going to help you be a distributor?
Right.
So it's very much the same thing. I think for me, the big thing is empathy. Now I get to feel like, dude, I've been in your shoes, bro. I know how hard it is. I know I've got what you need. I know what you need. I know what you want. I know how you need to get this going. Are you ready to do it? Right. Yeah. And also one of the things that I'm most known for, and it's kind of a good and a bad thing, especially being director of sales, and Bill, don't kill me for saying this, but it's like, I've actually learned you have to really take it slow on the service provider side, because as a distributor, you're trying to get that end user's money when they're ready to spend it. And as a supplier, you just want to be able to fill that order as soon as the distributor sends it in, right? So on the business standpoint, it's react very fast, and we're a 24-hour society now, right? Mm-hmm. Instant gratification. So all of that stuff. But as a service provider, you've got to be able to work inside of their gaps, right? So there's times a year where you're not going to get responses, which that's hard for me, right? So I know Chinese New Year is probably the best time for me to go out and call people because they're not busy at all.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on for a month and a half. Nobody's got anything. Everybody's trying to wait. They're waiting for stock. They're planning for something. So I know like that's the best time for me. And then also learning all of the budget cycles too, right? So because I've been on both sides, I get to see when money does get freed up for things like marketing. And it's so funny. We're in an advertising industry, and it's so hard to sell marketing and advertising to a marketer and advertiser. Because they get it, and whether they think so or not, they think it. They know they need it, but they're not quite sure how to do it. And now with Promo Corner, without making this sound too much like a commercial, we're getting more into the digital side and social side, which for an industry that is consistently 10 to 15 years behind, normal culture when it comes to our normal business, when it comes to, all the insides and workings and stuff like that, like we're catching up now because social is allowing us to act quicker and move faster. And if I have to hear one more time, I'm old school, like I think I'm gonna puke. Like I get it, guys. Like I know fax machines don't exist anymore. It's okay. We're on email now. I tell everybody all the time if anybody ever tells me that they couldn't get a hold of me, like you didn't try. Like I'm on everything social. I'm everywhere. Oh, I'm old school. I just pick up the phone and call. Well, my cell phone number is on every single piece of content that I send to you. So I think so. I mean, going back to the question, kind of wrapping it all up, I feel for everybody out there, and I know how busy you are. I know what you need, and I got it. So that's it, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think one of your points, and I think your pet peeve overlaps with one of mine, is that people will say, well, I'm an older generation. This stuff isn't natural to me. I hear that sometimes where it's like, well, you guys grew up with this, or which I didn't, by the way, but whatever. And my argument's always, well, do you drive a car? Well, yeah, I do. Well, did you come out of the womb driving a car? No, you learned to do it. So it's just a different kind of technology. So stop making excuses. So I actually am kind of with you on that one. So you've answered my 3 questions. I give you a chance to ask me one question. Do you have one for me?
I do. All right. So speaking of social and content providers, your friends and my mentors, Dana Zezo and Bill Petrie. Dana's kind of the pioneer.
Sure.
Bill Petrie's the Mr. Consistency and the money man. Like he'll figure out what it costs and he'll get everybody involved. And then I've always looked at you as Kirby the creator, right? You're the guy out there just crushing content, man. And side note, tangent, before I ask the question, sorry.
It's okay.
I dove into your YouTube like before we filmed last time, and I did it again this weekend while I was sitting out on the beach. Man, some of your old content is so awesome. Like, I love it, dude. The ballooned out shirts, man, like the big old fat ties. Like, you can tell the time period that you were filming in. I love it. I love all the content. So you've been doing it for so long, and many different content, like a ton of different styles of content. And I've seen your new stuff with Coshocton. You're starting to do that day in the life, which I love. But what piece of content do you do now, or do you want to do, that is strictly for you?
That's a great question. So yeah, I think what's funny for me. I actually just had this conversation. Is that delivering marketing joy is a staple. I actually feel like I get a lot out of that because I get to talk to smart people on a regular basis. We share platforms, all that stuff. It's a lot of work because, honestly, coming up with questions and getting people on the calendar, this part is easy. The podcast I like doing, the blogs I like doing, unscripted is really easy. I would say, in answer to your question, the new vlog that I've been playing around with is the thing I'm most excited about. I actually talked to Bill Petrie about this, and there comes a point at which it's just like, am I doing too much? But I think that in that one, it's the thing I'm actually still enjoying, and it kind of gets my creative juices flowing again. And so I think that's super important because if you've heard me talk about it before, I believe in routines. But routines can quickly become ruts if you are not kind of spicing things up and putting variety in. That right now is where I'm doing that. And I think it's interesting because the response has been really good because I think it just shows a different side. So that's probably right this minute, the thing I'm doing that I enjoy the most is probably the vlog. And that I'm sure that will evolve.
That's awesome, dude. I love it too. I've always loved that day in the life stuff. That's fantastic.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Because it shows that question that everybody always asks us: how do you have enough time to do all this? Well, there it is. Look at my routine. You can see it every day. That's how I do it.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, man. So, well, dude, thank you. We'll have to set up a calendar reminder to do this again in a year, and we'll rock it out. Thanks a lot. We'll do it again, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, Curb.
Cool. That wraps up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.